Hello everyone and welcome back to my Cities Skylines II series. Now with the new UK build pack as well as any other things that basically came from the developers, we are going to continue with Academiton. So last time we had built our initial educational facilities. We have our elementary school here and our high school here. We are currently losing money, so for now I'm actually going to pause this because this is something that we need to balance out pretty quickly. So let's first have a look at the taxations, and we are taxing the industrial area quite high. Even if we just add a little bit more to the commercial, I'm hoping we end up with about the right amount, but maybe not. All right, anyways, so and there we go. Massive increase. I was saying massive, it's $200 per hour, which is not too bad. So we had started putting a few parks in here last time, and I think we want to expand on this a little bit more. But not just with parks. With parks I also want to include more of our industry. And I think what would go pretty nicely, because one thing that I do like to build is actually campsites. So putting in campsites, I think they go really nicely with the forest industry, and this is kind of what we're trying to do today. So let's have a look into our forestry area, and maybe right next to the water could be actually quite nice, because not only can we put in our forestry area, we can also have our campsite much closer to the water, which I think would be a great amenity. Alternatively, we could consider putting our wood logging area up here, but I kind of want to avoid that, because if we're building it up on a hill, it will just like echo throughout the city like all day, which would be, well, in my opinion at least, a reduction in quality of life. And these are kind of the only two areas that we really have where we could potentially put our wood industry in. So I think we will ultimately place it here. But first we're going to add more woods because, improve our productivity. Actually, before that, I change my mind every other second, but let's first really put in the road so we know where our wood industry will end up going. We're going to expand this by 56 by 56, so we have a nice swooping curve over here, and then just going to continue this with a straight path if it snaps. Here we go. Alright, so this narrows down our area where we can actually put our forestry industry down, and we're going to have a road that comes out of here. Gonna make it straight and let it actually go relatively far back, and then we're going to do what we've done before: 56 this direction, 56 this direction, and we're going to continue this path all the way. That won't quite work, so let's do this the other way around. Kind of want to parallel this to, or parallel-ish this to our highway. So we're going to add a road here, and then we're going to connect the road. Let's actually put a slightly windy road in there because, well, ultimately why not? And I think it kind of makes sense. So now this has a dip in there. I don't think it's too big of an issue because ultimately it will it is more for personal use, so to speak. Although, seeing how big that campsite is, I wish it was a bit smaller. Maybe I should actually change my mind again and, adapt the size a little bit. Although what I am seeing here now is that if I place the road here and basically go back in there, we should be able to put the campsite ultimately over here, and I think that would look quite nice. So this way, the campsite out in the back, there's a little bit more wood or forest area, and it kind of goes relatively quickly to that water section, which is not part of our city yet. But in all honesty, I don't think people will really mind. We are losing money again. It's only $50 per hour, but it is a decent amount. But we also have a significant amount of demand for housing and everything. So we should, as a next step, try to figure out where we're going to put houses next. It's all a bit tricky with the currently, how shall I put this, taxed financial situation that we are in, but I think it will be okay. So we do have some offices here on the main street, and what I am actually going to do is I'm going to put more of our German medium density housing just in the back here, filling it all up. Maybe not all the way, maybe we'll start here, filling it up just like that. And now that this building is in, we're also going to add one here, and that should definitely help us increase our population and kind of help us balance out, well, hopefully at least, our budget. Now I do see what we could have done is actually put an alleyway back here. Don't know if it's really necessary, and I'm gonna say it's not. I don't know what this alleyway, what purpose this alleyway would serve, so we are going to leave it as it is. And going to figure out where we're going to put more of our low density housing, since we again have more demand for this. And I think this would actually be a good spot. It's right next to the school. While I think there is an argument to be made that this should be a higher density area, I do think we can replace that in the long run. Because again, keep in mind, I'm not afraid basically to remove zoned areas and put them back in. Now this is a bit of a weird situation here. I hate it when the game does that. And there's probably a better way of like fixing this. Now not enough money to go all the way, so I'm just gonna put it to here. And we're going to put our, let's actually see, what do we have in terms of low density housing? So we have the regular, we have the waterfront, which we don't have. We have the medium density, low rent housing, medium. We do have the UK low density housing, but I think I'm going to save the UK for a separate area. I think as we're playing along, we're going to create little villages just like these at first, and they will have different styles. So right now here I focus very much on sort of the German style, which I think looks great, minus some of these differences in height, but that is actually something I think at least that you see in Germany, so overall not too bad. So we're going to keep this up in this area, the German style, with a bit of the French influence, also just because we need it. We're actually now losing a lot of money. Excellent. And later on, I think in this corner here, we're going to build a more British style town, and then we have them both grow together. I think that will look nice as the city progresses. So we do still need to really figure out what to do with our budget. So while we're not too far off, I want to say, well, I hope so at least. Let's see what we're actually spending. We're spending quite a lot on healthcare and deaf care, as well as education. Education is as far down as possible. We do have parks and recreation. We're going to reduce this to 50%. which for now fixes our financial problems. So we do need to expand our industry section. So we've built this. We know we're going to put our campsite over here. And I think that means we should now honestly just take a loan so we can put additional industry in here. So let me actually just do that. Let's go into loans. We actually do already have 10,000 of a loan. Let's do 50,000. I think that should give us enough time and money to make this work for our purposes. So we currently have this road, which could also be utilized for our forest industry, and I think it will be fine. Can you expand a forest industry beyond a road? I wonder. Anyways, let's first try it like this. We're going to put in a bunch more trees. So vegetation, I'm going to just multiple. Let's put them all in as mature. And what do we currently have here? A mix between, I guess, spruces. You know what? That'll be fine. So we're gonna add a few more of the spruces in there and a few more of these. More spruces. And yes, all of these trees cost obviously money, but I think in the long run it will be worth it. Right, so we have quite a dense forest, which is good. And now we're going to put our forest industry in here. Just on this corner, right there. And then now we also see that we cannot expand this beyond the road, which is a bit unfortunate. I would have loved to have a road that goes through our forest and basically gives an alternative route to our forest industry. But you know what I might do instead? So first let me follow this curve. Just like that, and connect this up here. And I think we're going to actually disconnect this road here and going to put a separate entrance over here, turning this just into there, and then making a nice, hopefully straight connection. Maybe not. You know, as straight as it gets, I guess. Just into here. So now we have a separate entrance to our forest area, or forester area, I guess. And we're also going to add this road back in because this was for our campsite. And now we're just going to expand the zone for deforestation, basically. Well, if it's done sensibly, I don't think it's too big of a problem, but you know, let's hope our citizens in Cities Skylines 2 know what they're doing. Right, so we have this here. Need to expand this a little bit out. Why can I not? Oh, because this road is going a bit too far. But I think we're actually going to utilize this because I don't want to do that. I want to have a little bit of a turnaround area, I think, over here. So let's try to put this in 1724, 1624. And just like that. So while we won't be able to utilize this area in the center, I think overall that will be fine. And then now we have a good guideline as to where our zone can really go. Now we can move this back again and then expand this in here. can actually expand this all the way to the end. And we will figure out later if that was a bit too close to what will become our campsite. All right, so now we're just gonna quickly expand, like massively expand this zone. Should probably first focus on this area here. It does want to snap to the road. Yeah, that'll do. And I realize when I'm trying to fix the zones for these industry buildings, I'm so focused on trying to place it just the way that I want it that talking becomes actually really hard. Alright, how about this? Nope, it does not like it. So we're gonna put in another edge here. Make this connect here. There is a spot. Here we go. And that'll be great. Now we're just going to straighten this out all the way to here. Going to put this over there and then straighten this out over here. And with that, we do have our forestry area in. 12 employees, so that's a good start. We are still losing $600 per hour. But now we also have a lot more demand for all different density housing, which I think is good, as well as some commercial demand. So first, we are going to expand this. We have our low rent housing over there, right next to the highway. Again, I think that makes sense. While it's unfortunate, I do think every other area would probably be too expensive. So let's put in an extension of this road up here. This will not work because our low density housing needs a depth of 4. Not low density, our low rent housing needs a depth of 4. So let's try this instead. If we are to place this here, this gives us exactly a depth of 4, which I think is good. And then we're just going to connect this actually just all the way and make this a right angle path down here. So we have lost a little bit of zoning here because of some zoning that is along these. Let's actually have a quick look into our advanced road services and then highways, because then we can upgrade this into a highway, one-way highway, upgrade, and this should completely fix the zoning over here, which is great. Going to do the same actually while we're at it over here and over here. And this is where my road apparently breaks stuff. So let me remove this part and this part. And that was probably what broke it. Just to add this into here. And do the same over there. All right, now we just need to connect this back up again. Go from this path. We did have a curve in here. There we go. Doesn't look pretty, so actually let's just remove both and do this connection from scratch again. So we're going to have this extend basically to here, do a sweeping motion over there, and then with a straight line just connect into this. Great. So now we've done a lot of this stuff, and that allows us to put in some of our, well, actually quite a lot more of our low rent housing. So that, in a sense, is fully sorted. Now we do want to put in some more medium density housing. We're going to add this over here, a depth of 3, just like on the other side. And now we're already a tiny town. Excellent. We have also unlocked some more signature buildings, which is kind of cool. And most importantly, we do have now mixed use housing. And as you can see here, I do have the urban promenades expansion. So we will be working on this as we're sort of expanding our city here. But for now, we do, like I said, have more demand. You know what? Why not just immediately start looking into this? I think this over here could be a great use for mixed use housing. And I am going to actually stick with the German mixed use housing. While the density doesn't perfectly flow, so this area here is relatively low density, and with all the high density around, I would assume that the individual houses would actually become quite expensive. But you know, this could be quite normal, I would say. And as these get more expensive, there's more of an incentive for these owners to sell their house or restructure the house to basically rent them out and moving themselves a little bit further out of our city. So we're still in the negative, not entirely sure why. Let's see how our wood production is doing. They are producing 104% efficiency, which is good. Water fee, electricity fee. What is everyone else saying? Walking distance to elementary school, bad. Unreliable, high water fees, high electricity fees. What would happen, actually, if I remove this, basically put this back to 100%? So we would remove the strain, basically the financial strain on our folks. And it doesn't look like it actually affects us that much in terms of money. So we need more. We need more industry. Let's actually have a quick look. Again, production. We are lacking grain, oil, or coal. But that's basically it. Everything else we are kind of selling. Which one is our grain farm? This is our grain farm. So since we are lacking grain, we will actually just expand this. Make it a lot straighter, basically. I think for the machinery, this would probably be very useful. So now we're producing a lot more grain. We also have a vegetable farm. That's our transformer station, and we have our livestock farm. So grain, vegetable, livestock. So the next thing that we should consider is also expanding our industry section. Should not have done this type of road, as this is a bit unrealistic if we want to add our an additional farm in here. So we are going to smooth this part out a bit. That was not smoothing, so let's do this again. Soften terrain. And I am going to actually flatten the bottom here out first, and then soften the terrain again. So, because now we can also build the textile fiber farm, which we're just going to set up here, and then we're going to expand this along the entire path over there. So let's connect this up here, follow this path up there, actually all the way to here, where I am going to leave this gap here, because I think it would be quite nice to have a road that goes up there that our citizens could use for walks along the farm area, because overall I think that would be again quite a nice amenity. We're also going to do this, and I think after that I might already call this the end of the episode. Like I mentioned before, I do want to keep them a little bit shorter, otherwise it might get a little bit too much for everyone, I would guess. So, you know what? I'm going to stop it right here already, because I think this spot up there would be a great spot for our internet services that we have now unlocked. Our telecommunication tower, is it? No, radio mast has actually quite a large reach from up there. And I do think this will be, is probably the most realistic spot for us. I'm gonna put this up there, connect it with this road, put another road that basically winds its way up here, and have sort of the immediate connection to this, allowing our pedestrians to basically go through this, use this area for hiking, or at least a little bit of walking or animal viewing, which is apparently a thing. And I think it will be great for them to relax from our not quite so busy, but yet relatively busy city area. All right. With that, like I said, I am going to end it here, and we're going to expand this in the next episode. What we've done this time around, we have added a forestry industry, and one thing, the whole reason why I also wanted to do this, and I haven't actually placed it yet, is to put in our campsite, which is in there now. So while this is close to the highway, I think it still makes sense. We can actually add a bit more of trees in here, just to make it seem or look a little bit nicer. So we're going to reduce the size, that's a bit too much, and just plaster all of this with adult trees. For strength up to 100, I want to put as many in there as possible. See, none of these, just to give them a little bit of a sound barrier, which I think would be very much appreciated as you go camping. It's really hard to stay away from any of the city sounds, or especially like if there's a highway area going on, but I think this will work. There's a little bit of parking, they can go in, there are 2 camps, and they could camp out here. There's a little shed over there with a fireplace right overlooking the water, which I think is excellent. So I really like this spot, and that was honestly one of the main things that I wanted to achieve in this episode. We've also expanded our city, and I do see now we have some crime. I don't remember if we have a police station. We do. So all of that should be good. And next time we really need to work on balancing the budget. So thank you everyone for joining, and I hope to see you next time. Bye bye.